Remember last time we were looking into select into to create a copy of a table. We cannot just copy and paste a table. And we also looked at what's the benefit of having a duplicate table. We can create a duplicate table to work on the duplicate table itself. And at the last moment, we can rename it to the actual live table. Not a good practice. I like to have all the environments separate rather than having a copy of a table within that same database. So I would like to have something like this connection, and I'll change it to dash dev, like a dev server. Once your development changes are done, you move it to which one? UAT server. And then I know there's no servers like this, but I'm just saying this is my server name. And the one that is in the live, just with the plain name, should be considered as a live. No one should be writing the queries and running the queries or as such in the live environment. Keep yourself most of the time away. But developers should have access at least with the selecting the rows, because selecting the rows does not slow down, does not change the data. Selecting means you are just selecting the data for viewing purpose. But as a database administrator, the DBA should restrict all the developers to only run the select queries, not the update queries, not the schema modification queries like append or not even appending to the table. No garbage data should be appended to the table. No duplicates should be appended to the table by accident, because or drop queries should be prohibited for the developers as well. Only they can do it in their environment, whatever they want. They should be given the permission in the development environment as a DBO, database owner, so that they can delete or drop the tables. If you keep one environment and then keep working on it, the chances are you might mingle the data from customer one to customer, which is not intended, right? So that is the only risk that you can do during the development or during the testing environment. You might have an issue. So that is why having a separate server, but having a separate servers is having separate virtual machines, is having separate licenses for SQL Server. You see what I'm saying, the cost of it? So if you want to avoid the accidents, and you just say developer will have their own environment, meaning that developers will have their own server and their own SQL server installed, their own environment where they can log in. Similar to that, UAT will have their own environment where UATs will be able to log in. Developers can have access to UAT environment, but only the select kind of a permission on it. And obviously, it's developers can run the queries in the production environment, but only the select should be granted to them. Not all drop queries or delete all or truncate or all that permission should be avoided. But again, those permissions are set by the database administrators. I'm not big on database administration, so I only know how to do backup and restore and all that, or view which process is tying up the resources. We can see that, but giving permissions and do that, granting permissions is not that often that I write those queries. Maybe once every 2-3 years, 4 years. That's why I'm not very I always copy and paste the syntaxes for those. Okay, so last time I said I can create the copy of a customer table and I can create in customer one table. That's what we did. And we can see that if I run this query, select our top 1000 rows, it is showing you that top rows. And when I said, okay, if the structure is created, I did create multiple copies of, as long as I know there is no primary key in here, I can keep. And as I say, if I go here in the customers table, I have how many? Customer one table has now so many duplicates. And I showed you this is the real-time issue with the duplicate data, that this is the real world scenario of the data getting duplicated. And the way you did it, you fixed it, is by saying either by using the distinct or using the group by. And remember the trick. I'm not going to reiterate that trick. If you are using group by, all the columns should be added in the group by. If you are using distinct, you just get away with one word, distinct, and then you don't have to worry about it. But I like it as a group by. It gives you a little bit more understanding of what items you are grouping upon. Now, duplicates that we are seeing here were removed, and then all the duplicates were removed, and the new copy of it is created in this customer 2 table. All right. So now let's do this. I want to show you now. I have a customer 2 table and customer 1 table, but let's put aside a customer 1 table because it's full of clutter and garbage values. And as you can see, Joe Smith is coming up twice because we added 2 balances for him, and me as a developer does not know how to deal with this duplicate unless business give me some direction, right? That is my issue. So we'll resolve this issue later. There are queries to resolve this issue. We'll look into that. But let's say if I want to see select all from dbo.customer and customer. Okay, so that looks good. If I run this, there is only one Joe Smith. And how many Joe Smith are here? There are 2 Joe Smith here. Okay, let's copy the columns first because I know the columns of the customer 2 and customer 1 are the same. So Control V and I paste it here. Okay, so far so good. Can I run the both queries together? Yes, I can run the both queries together. Let's remove this. Almost identical queries. One is pointing to customer and the other one is pointing to customer 2. Let's run this. So first time when it ran the query, it splitted my screen, but showing me that this is the query result of the first query. This is the query result of the second query. There is no column that is deleted. It's just the alignment of the column space width is a little bit of issue here. But other than that, I don't see there's any missing column. It makes me think that there's a missing column, but there is none. If I'll join them like this, they look very identical. Now, if you look at this, Joy is here once, Joy is here twice. This row and this row are identical. This row and this row are identical. Other than that, the whole table is all good. So how many rows are there? 14 rows are here in customer 2, and if I go here, 13 rows are here in customers table. Let's say if I want to say I want to join the result together, so I can join the result together and make them a union query. So if I'll just say union, just like mathematics in query, mathematics, if you know the concept in mathematics, if you have 2 sets, set A and set B, when you say union, what you do? You join or combine together the result of both the tables, both set A and set B. I'm taking you to the lower than high school math if you want to join two sets together. So what will happen if this is set A and this is set B? What will happen? This Joy, don't worry about Joy for now. Joe and Joe, both are duplicates. They should only appear once when you are using union. There's another way where I can show duplicates, but at the moment, Billy and this Billy, when we are joining the two sets, they should only appear once. So let's do that. I said forget about Joy. Look at Joe and Billy. They are only appearing once. So union, what it does, it merges two tables together and remove the duplicates if it finds that Joe has appeared in the first table already and Joe is appearing in the second table with the same exact row. All the columns are equal. All the values of each column are equal. Then it will remove that two of them and just merge them into one. If you look at Billy, same thing. Billy is appearing twice, but Billy was here and Billy was here. Then Billy was turned into one Billy. Now look at the Joe problem. Joy has one appearance here. Let's run this together. Actually, if I'll just remove this union from the middle. Now let's look at Joy. Joy has three appearances. Two in the customer two table, one of which is identical. 125, this one is identical where the balance is 80.68 and this balance is 80.10. Theoretically, it should merge these duplicates into one. And although this is a Joy, but it doesn't know, it knows that there's a difference here. So it is considered as a totally different item in this set. So it will not be merged with the Joy image. So it will still appear as two rows. And as you said, two Joys which were in customer 1 and customer 2 and customer table are now merged into one, but where there's a balance difference, that is still an outstanding case. The rest of them are merged as the same. So yes, we can join the results of the two table together with the union query. But what is the mandatory part? Let's look at the mandatory part. If I run this query, and let's say if I'll just say for time being, let's remove the postal code from here. So I'm going to comment this postal code and run this query individually. It will still run, but you see it is missing the postal code. If I run this query, this is running from customer table, this is from customers table. If I run this query, it has a postal code. If I try to union them together, union will fail. Why? Number of columns in the first table on the first set has to match with the number of columns in the second set. That is the very basic prerequisite of union query. So if I run this query, and to prove that logic, if I run this query, it will not be able to merge together. Number of columns should match. So it is saying all queries combined using union, intersection, or except. We haven't gone over and learned these, but must have equal number of expressions in their target list. So they should have equal number of columns, no matter what. So if I'll comment this one, and let's say if I comment this one, now they are happy chappy. So if I'll run this now, obviously in the both combination, postal code is now commented. So if I accidentally forget to type it, or if I have it in one table and in the next table I forget to type it, that's my typographical mistake, or my logical error that has to be fixed. Okay, so I have to go apples to apples. Customer ID is here, first name is here, last name is here. Is this there? Yeah. What is missing? Postal code. Now, one other thing to keep in mind, if you ever realize that, oh, I'm missing the postal code, it has to follow in the same order as well. So state is here. Okay, so state cannot come here. Even though you realized it, oh, I was missing the state, it is not following the same order. So both number of columns should be identical and fall in the same order. So if I run this, still, so it is not able to merge them together because it finds two different data types sitting at different locations. So it has to follow the same. So if you get this kind of errors, you know what you need to do. You have to match that. So if there are if there are 25 columns to match, you will be killing your eyes to make sure that you have all those 25 columns apples to apples. The query will be faster, but the first part has to be. So if you don't want to face in that situation, you can say that select all and get rid of this and put select all. So the query is shortened, but that doesn't mean the problems are over. It has to match the number of columns. So if customers table, all the columns of the customer table, customer two tables that you want to mingle with the customer, number of columns count, number of columns count, not the row counts. Number of column count has to match the number of column count on the customer table. So if I'll do this, it will still run. It's the same output, but I like all the columns explicitly written so I know what I'm doing and what I'm dealing with. Yeah, star is good. Star is good in situations where you want to see all the data, but making sure that everything is aligned and mapped properly, that is where you come in. So this is where you can do. So let's say if I go ahead and design view, and by accident if I delete any of this column, let's say postal code, if I delete this column and if I try to run this query, this union query, do you think it will work or not? Columns, number of column counts, not the row, columns should match. So if you delete a column or dropped a column, it will not work. So union is good where you have multiple rows coming from different Excel sheets or different sets, and you want to merge them together, removing the duplicates. Yes, you can merge them all in one set. But the only thing is you need to still, this is an outstanding issue. Right? Now, if you want to merge them together, how many rows are in the customer table? 14 rows. How many rows are there in the customer two table? There were 14. How many of them are there in customer table? 13. 13 plus 14. How many rows are there in total? 27. So if I want to see all the duplicates and everything, regardless. I just need to change union into union all. Always think of removing duplicates. So union is always better than union all. But if you want to see duplicates, that's up to you how you want, what is the scenario you are looking into. But you can see if you run this, 27 rows are showing now. It is because you used union all instead of union. So as you can see, Joy is here, and this is a Joy third part after 14th row. Now I want to see them sorted. So if I ask you, show me the sorted result, can you try it, please? I want to see this, this, and this. Row number 1, 2, and 15 together. No, row number 126 and 126 at the row number 16. I want all of them together. How you will do that? Very easy, but could be a difficult thing to think about. I know 90% of you will think, okay, we can do that. But when they will try, it might not work. What you guys are thinking, let me know. Taking the attendance now. So what do you say? How you will write that out? Result is there, you just need to sort it for me. What is your first instinct? First instinct is okay. You put the order by, you put the order by. Didn't work out. It started giving you an error right here. Incorrect syntax. Isn't that what you guys tried? Please confirm. No worries if it is wrong. I'm not going to challenge anybody. Dean, Renu, Jacqueline, Ivaldo, Jen Francis, almost took everybody's name. Zachary, Harbinder, what do you think? I want to just sort this list by customer ID. If I put the order by customer ID, it is starting to giving me an error. Your first instinct is showing me here. Incorrect syntax near this. So how I'm going to fix this? Idea? Okay. You want me to fix it or you want to fix it yourself? List the other column names. No. Okay, here's the solution. You have the result set already. You have to go out of that and then sort it. So result is here, but after that you will say select all from brackets and name it as a table T, right? Or something. Then you can say order by customer. So the result is there already. Query is there. Then you said, okay, whatever is in the result set, I want to name it or alias it as a T outside. So you went outside the result set. And then you said that on that result set, please do the sort. So it knows which column you are talking about, but the problem is it does not know which, if you are talking about customers or a customer to a customer. Really, at this point, really doesn't matter because all of it becomes as one set, which is T. Now on that set, you will run the sort. And now you are seeing the sorted result. From the outset, it was really, for the first time when you think of it, it really doesn't make sense, but you need to go out of that set. Set is there. Now you just need to sort it. So you need to put it in. So think of it. You will, if I will be you, an old school guy, I will be putting out all that result into a temporary table or something, right? And then print out that temporary table, right? What you will be doing. So if you don't do this, this is a drive table. This is a drive table out of this result set. So if I will be you in a long school, which I used to do when I was not aware of this, I used to do this. Select all into this customers, select all from, select all into C. Let's say table C2. And then I'll say this as a C, right? Select all into C, right? And if I run this, so let's run this one first. Gone. Second result, gone. Both of them are in C1 and C2. Now, if I need to merge them together, obviously I will be using select all from C2 union all, select all from C, right? That's what I will be thinking. Then I do that. Still, the problem is not solved because if I created these two new tables, I'll refresh that. I see C and C2. Problem is not solved. If I'll just say order by, I'm still standing at the same place. So creating new tables won't help. We need to understand the outer logic of it, that how you sort it is treated as an outbound. So it is, you are on the outer bound, you are you have the result set. Now you need to just sort that. You need to go out of that and then sort that outside and name it, and then sort that way. So that is the way you can create that logic. So I'm just going to delete the garbage tables. So into and into can be removed. And remember, into creates the table instantly. So yes, so you cannot when you are unioning the queries, whether you are using union or union all, you on the queries or on the tables which you are joining together, you cannot put the order by on them. Instead, you have to go out and then put a select statement across both of those result sets, which you are both or more result sets that you are joining together, and then you can put the outer query. So you can do this actually, union select. I know it's a little garbage data, but if I'll just say union or select all, or you can create same table, but let's say select all from dbo dot customer one. I can join multiple tables together like this. I can do some union all, and I can just do some unions all. Underlying factors that I need to understand. What union does, remove duplicates and still merge the two tables together, and in which two records, if it is not able to merge them, it will be printed out as a separate record. So if I will be you, if I'll run this query, yes, it will give me some result. It will yield me the result. But how it is doing it, I have to understand. Union is removing all the duplicates. So it finds both the duplicates in both the tables and just merge them together. All I know, there are multiple records of each guy in this table, multiple times. That is why it has 80 rows. But when I'll just say merge them please, it has merged them into one, and then when you union all, you are happening. So it could be a combination of union and union all, but it has to make sense that what you're doing in the given scenario. Tool is there, but you need to know what is actually happening. So union all. This is the union all example. When you look at it, syntactically they are almost very close, but if you read this, this is the general syntax. I want to sum up. Let's say if I want to be easier here first, let's say if I want to keep the customer table. So that is my original and non-faulty data table. This has a fault. Customer 1 has the fault and customer 2 has a fault, but this data is a little cleaner. So let's look at that. So if I say group by customer ID, group by customer ID, I need to put this in the aggregate function. So I'll just need to say sum of balance, and I need to see. So if I run this query, this will run. So if you look at this, I'm gonna open up the customer table here just for looking at the data and then verifying it. So if you look at it, 125 is repeated once, 126 is repeated once, there is no, there is none. But if I'll just say group by the city, so Cody city, how many Cody cities we have? 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 80, 90, 17, and here you go. If I am correctly picking up all of them, how much is the total? So if I'll just say copy, I don't want to do calculator, I am lazy, so I can go Excel. How much is the total coming up? 250.11. For which city? Cody. So let's go back, close this out, close some extra column. So if I'll just do balance by the city, and if I flip, do it, it is showing me 250, but I don't know which city this one belongs to. I know this is 250.11 for the city of Cody, and 418 should be for some other city, but I don't know. So I need to see the city. So I can just say city, and then it will show me the balance. As long as city is in the group by clause, I'm okay. So this is make more sense. Elk, Butte, or all those city. And if I want to make it nicer, I'll say as sum of balance. But because there is a sweet colors that are coming up here, I need to put them in the brackets sorry, quotes. So it does look nicer to me. If I run that, this will be the heading. So now city and the sum of balances. Right? So can I do that in Excel? Yes, I can do this in Excel. And that is why I like Excel working in together with SQL Server side by side, because it gives you a very good analytics of your data. So let's say if I run this right now, I'll copy this data, Control A with header. I'll copy, get rid of this data. I don't need this, and copy and paste it here. There you go. And now, if I want to make sure, there are two ways I can quickly do that. So I can go here, data, filter, and I want to put the filter on which city? City is Cody. Done that. Now if you run this sum, how much is the sum? 250.11. Correct. 4 rows are making that one row that you are seeing in SQL Server. If I go to another city, change this Cody to Elk, Butte, and run that, 2 rows are the underlying factor of that 418.9. So it helps you double check your data. So you can do this, okay, but how it is happening? If there are 500 rows like this, would you be going through each 500 row for Cody? No. What you will do, you will just copy and paste this data in Excel and verify your results like that. Putting that in the filter, row number 18, row number 13 is Elk, Butte. Uncheck that, go back to Cody. Done. You know, 4 row comprises. So this is called drill down. Drill up, if you look at this, this is called drill up. You are drilled up here. You are drilled up. But if I want to click on this, let's say if I'm making a Power BI report, or if I'm making a Crystal report, or if I'm making a report, I want to see why this number is so high. Can I click here on Cody and see that? No. I will have to go in Excel and look at each. I need to look at the query and look at summit. Why this is so high? And because of which guy it is so high? For what underlying reason the number is so high? Then you can find out, can you bring that number down? So that is your analytical and critical thinking skills. But Excel does help you in that finding out. So if I'll run another one, Garland, row number 4 and 10 are comprising this whole result of the balance of whatever is the balance, 88.33. Yes, it is 88.33. This 88.33 is coming up because of those two rows, because you're grouping on the city and each city is getting printed. More power of Excel. And this is your testing of a data. You can do testing of your data all the time. Insert pivot table, table range, just say everything for now. Now drag city onto the row and drag the balance into the value, right? But you're saying, where is that same result that I'm looking for? I'm looking for 250. It is showing me 4. I can understand where the 4 is coming from, because 1, 2, 3, and 4. They are 4 rows combination. So what it is showing you, if you look at really closely, it is showing you the count. I'm not looking for the count. What I'm looking for? I'm looking for the sum. So you'll change it to value field setting and change it to what? Sum, and click OK. Isn't it the same result that you are seeing there? 250, 418, Garland. We have verified 3 cities anyways. Same result. So those guys in your office who don't know how to run SQL, you can proofread and show them, you are skilled with Microsoft Excel. I'm giving you the data. This is the data in the production environment. Go and run the pivot table and you will find out why it is doing it. Or I'm doing the pivot table for you. You can see that this is why it is happening. Obviously, everyone in the office, whether it's an accounting or whichever department they're coming on, if they don't have good enough Excel skill, then they are not competent for their job. Excel is everywhere now. So let's say if I want to double click on Cody, I think I was able show details, Control A. I think everything I can say. I want to see everything. Yeah. So if I double clicked on it, it says that which column you want to see. I said customer ID. If I double click on this, it showed me the which customer ID. I can see these 4 rows are affecting this. These 2 rows are affecting this. So Excel and SQL Server work in conjunction, or your data analysis will work in conjunction in general. Okay, I want to see the last part of this, is that if I want to see all the sum of balances, I know the sum of balances is correct, sum of balance is correct. I want to see the sum of balances only that are greater than 400. So you will think, okay, that's very easy. I'll go here. I'll just say where first mistake, where balance is greater than 400. Okay, that's good. I'm done. Wrong. Nothing is coming up. Although I have two cities with the sum of balance greater than 471. So if you just put a balance, that is first mistake is if you put the balance is not the right column. You are actually looking at sum of the balances, not only individual balances. So it has to be sum of balance, but it's still a mistake. I'm going to show you where, okay, sum of balance, I think it is a mistake, but I'll just show you, greater than 400. Let's see. Okay, it's still an error. Now what? Error is saying that where clause does not have the capability to run the aggregate functions inside it. Okay, so I now know that where clause only works for a column, single column value. It does not work for aggregate functions. Okay, but it is also giving me a hint, which I'm going to read now. So keep in mind, where clause does not work on aggregate function. Other thing that you want to keep in mind is that if you are doing like this, you are doing a mistake. Why? Because grouping is not done based on the video that you just saw. I don't know, I haven't watched that video whole. Grouping comes, I don't remember that, but for the grouping to happen, grouping happens first, and then the filter on the summation will happen afterwards, right? So you have a choice like this. So what I'm saying is that you have two choices here. Because the grouping has to happen first so that it can first come up with the sum of balances. That is why it is giving you an error that I have not reached the summation first. Let me do the summation first, and then I will be able to put in the where clause. So where clause is not able to solve or dissect sum of balance. It has to first come up with the sum of balances. So you now know that. So it means when the sum has happened, it's up to you that you can put it like this. Go outside of that, because the sum has happened now. You know that sum is happening now. You can go outside and put the filter like this. Select all from this table, and I'm putting that in the inner query as T or table or drive table, where what is the name of the column now? Sum of balance. So where I can say that T dot, how many columns are there? City and the sum of balance. So I'm just going to refer this, where T dot balance is greater than 400. This makes sense because aggregation and grouping has to happen first before you have a filter. And once the filter has happened, it was able to aggregate the number and it was showing you it is being solved inside first. Now, once this is being solved, the outer query is wise enough to know that there are only two columns remaining inside this, which is I'm naming it as a table T, and based on that I'm running the query on that, where T dot sum of balance is greater than 400. Now if I run this query, only two guys coming up. So aggregation has to happen first before you put a where clause. You can put the where clause in the outer query. That is why this is called derived table. Derived tables are very handy for us. If I don't have a derived table, I would have been so much difficulty understanding this concept. You can solve this a little bit easier. Derived table is one way to do it. You can also do it this way. Having, once the aggregation is done, after the grouping has been done and everything is evaluated, having sum of balance greater than 400. So having is very similar to where clause, but having works on aggregate functions. Having is similar to where clause, but having only works on aggregate functions. So if I now run this query, I have the same answer. So either go out, create a drive table and then run the query on it, or use the having and then do that. So now if I go back on this explanation, group by, and immediately after group by, what they are explaining? Having. Having clause is added into SQL because the where clause cannot be used with the aggregate function. So this is the demonstration, and having always work with aggregate function. So count is an aggregate function. Sum is an aggregate functions. What are some of the aggregate functions? Look at that. I'm going to go easy. Count, sum, average, minimum, maximum. These are aggregate functions. There are some other ones. Standard deviation, standard whatever. I have not used these at all. These are the examples. Creating a table, inserting the rows, garbage data, and then doing the aggregate functions. Sum functions, average functions, whatever. He is not showing you the next step. The next step is coming afterwards here. We have covered almost a lot of them. Any questions? Left join is the most common join. Inner join is the most common join that we are doing. We also have the right join, which means picking up the table, picking up all the rows from the right table and joining with the left table, or you will have a full join. I've literally not used them too many times anyways. And remember, I've shown this diagram, I remember, to you guys, but I'm going to show it one more time. Very early days of SQL introduction, SQL joins. Select all from A and joining with B and how you are joining them. Left joins meaning pick up everything from the left table. Right join and all that, right? So you can look at that, and this is a full join. A and B joined together, and this one. So these are all the mathematical representation of your SQL joins. Venn diagram of SQL Server joins or SQL joins. When in doubt, always look at these Venn diagrams and look at the query underneath them. What is happening? If in doubt, create a table A and create a table B with 5 rows in each. Whether they are identical or not identical, create and join them together with these joins, and you will get the answers. think I showed you guys is null or if null, something like that. Yeah, I've showed you is null and colask already. I'm just looking for a small topic. All these compound operators which you have learned from Java still persist in here. All these AND operator between, some of them are here. Some of them you have used, some of them you might not have used. Try it is available. If you want to understand, you can do that. This is the database administrator portion of it that we have. We have covered some topic in from here as well. And here you go. You are almost complete or 90% complete with, I would say 80% complete with your logics that you should know about SQL. Still a lot to be covered. If I want to add, keep adding. All right, if you guys don't have any questions, I'll stop here. So coming back to the assignment side, what is the progress on that? Let me just check it out. Because I'm going to make some disappear. Module 1 quiz, module 1 use it is done. Some people have done it, some people, okay. Jan Francis, you haven't done module 1 quiz. I'm just going over. Yeah, I'm just giving heads up to people. Yes, I don't like this browser. Module 2 quiz. Renu, you are missing module 2 use. Yeah, you can leave that. That's okay. Who is missing? I'm just going over very roughly right now. Dean, you are missing module 2 quiz. I'm just going quickly over things. Start working on module 3, please. Module 3, Kimte supplies. And stable database. Lab 3-1, Kimte pet supplies. Module 2, case exercise, stable accommodation. I don't know if you guys have attempted it. I might have to manually grade it, but it's showing up empty here. So if it comes out empty, when I will throw you the diagram at the end of the course, you will see that. But the so for the project part of this course, now you guys have a little bit of development of this course, that this is how the queries are written. Um, a small task for you guys, that give me a little bit of research of how would you remove duplicates and pick up one row, or make a decision on that one row. How would you go about of removing one of these or keeping one of these? What could be, I know it's not a direct question to you, but let's say if you are trying to address this kind of a scenario, what would be your thought process would be? Whether I have mentioned it on the surface to you guys before or not, what do you think? So I will give you till tomorrow. Think about it. How to remove duplicates in SQL Server. Yes, you know how to do that by grouping and distincting, but making a decision which row to keep, that is another thing. I know it's a duplicate with the customer ID 1 and again the customer ID. You're seeing it. Take a screenshot of it, because you might not have this data at your computer. So I'm okay that if you take this screenshot of it right now as you're seeing it, but what are the scenarios that other person can come with and say that, can you keep this row and don't and delete the other one? What are the suggestions they can make? So what do you think that how to deal with these kind of scenarios is, if it happens, or it should not even happen in your database? So I'll give it till tomorrow. Come up with this, take this screenshot of it right now as you're seeing it, and then give me some answers. How about that?